About to start the show. I, of course, am in my CNBC office where I'm head of marketing, sales, and HR at the same time during pandemic. And we have a very interesting gentleman called Yahya coming on. He's a podcaster, he's a poet, he's a writer, and obviously there'll be a lot of talk there about him. But before that, I want to ask a question of everybody, and that is 2 days back they held up traffic again. A very painful moment. 10 minutes of my life was taken away while some important VIP in Valkeshwar Marine Drive area was ferried in 32 cars and 10,000 motorbikes. We all came to a standstill on the other side of the road. So when I passed the great Mumbai police who were moving their barricades once it was over and letting us go, I put the window down and said, Mumbai police, hi, hi. Like how they used to say Ravi Shastri, hi, hi, which is undeserved because he was a great cricketer. And my daughter got angry with me and said, you should not say that. And my point is, but it's a democracy. You're not abusing the police. You're criticizing them. It's like after every show of mine, everybody comes and boos me and says, hi, hi, terrible show and all that. This is criticism. This is allowed. So is it allowed or is it not allowed? Can you say Mumbai police, hi, hi, or police, hi, hi, anywhere in India? Or can you take on government officials and criticize them or not? That is the question to ask my esteemed guest, who's told me no controversial questions, please, just before the show. No, I'm kidding. I've not met him before. I actually have, according to him. We'll find out when and where in a second. Let's call Yahya Bootwala. I'm looking left because itna bada profile hai aur biodata bahut hai usme, and I don't want to miss out things. That's why I'm looking left to where it's written on the new book that I have called The Phone. You are Yahya. Hi, welcome to the show. पहली बात है कि I'm wearing a suit and you're wearing a t-shirt, so I look like I'm representing you in court, but that's not true. I just have this job for 2 hours a week which I have to do. Quickly, Yahya, you are a poet, writer, podcaster, currently copywriter and morning show producer at Radio Mirchi. So you're
I was, yeah.
Oh, अब तो नहीं है. Sad moment for me because I thought we could meet because my building and Matulia is just 5 feet away. So we could have met. But anyway, we'll discuss that in a second. Then
Definitely.
You are also Indian actor, writer, poet, whose 2017 work Shayad Woh Pyaar Nahi went viral on social media, making you a multi-billionaire who is now on the Forbes list of top 10 earners of 2020-21. And Sheher Ya Tum, which was named Best Short at the Mami Mumbai Film Festival, and shorts are now the new future is what people are talking about. But this is very interesting. You have over 230,000 followers on Insta because of the poetry. I didn't even know poetry had such a big market here. और मेरे पास कितना followers है? I have 230 followers, almost 2 zeros missing or 3, and no poetry. We will discuss this poetry because I'm fascinated about that. And you took part in your first live Alfaz Ka Safar performance tour in February. Please correct me if I pronounce anything wrong. Alfaz Ka Safar. Oh God, there's so much more which you don't have time for. You're too much. I can't put you on my show. Aapke achievements both hai. You have to cut it down. And Yahya, please talk at any point you want to. I love your garden, by the way. Where are you?
Thank you so much. This is everything done by my mom. अगर मुझ पर छोड़ा होता तो जैसे आपके पीछे जो सफेद दीवार है, मेरा पूरा कमरा एक सफेद दीवार होती. But actually, my parents make my mom was like, yeah,
sorry, but मेरे पीछे आजा. I want to show the background. Come here. Don't lie. मेरे पीछे पायल है. Hi. This is Payal.
Hi.
He's saying white background, but you're here now. Say hello to Yahya. He can't hear you because the famous poet. He was with Radio Mirchi. He's an actor, writer.
I was listening to his achievements. Wow.
Yeah. Can you hear her?
Thank you.
She's saying
yes, I can hear her.
She's already a fan. So 230,000 plus one followers already on Insta. Yes. Because of this podcast, you're growing, beta. Because of this podcast. Yeah. Now, Payal, please go.
I always believe that.
Are talking. What the hell are you doing in the middle? Sorry, yeah. Fans both hai aajkal, yaar. They just walk in. They want autograph, photograph. Stop it, yaar. Ek aur aa gaya. Dekha? Yeah, we can't do this interview.
We literally saw you being like, aajo. Oh.
Yahya!
Arey, sir.
This is Yahya, my bro. How are you?
कैसे आप? बढ़िया हो सर.
क्या बात है? So good to see you.
Same. ये reunion सा होते जा रहा है अभी.
हाँ, But what is the connection between Cyrus and poetry? There is no connection.
सर मेरी आधी लाइफ बिना कनेक्शन के ही निकली है तो मैं पूछता नहीं, मैं बस चले जाता हूँ.
मतलब Cyrus is and poetry is like
विरोधी शब्द.
हाँ. whatever.
Opposites.
Opposites, yeah.
अरे मुझे हिंदी यार.
Okay.
मैं सिखाता तेरे को.
सर आज
Anyway,
आज एक शेर आया, आप साइरस जी के साथ बना लीजिएगा.
एक शेर, हाँ, आज साइरस के
एक
साथ.
शेर.
चलो, ठीक है. ओके, ग्रेट.
मैं और तू या सर और तू.
हम दोनों.
हम दोनों. वो भी शेर.
Let's ruin the poetry.
Let's lower the bar.
Lower the bar.
Lower the bar करते हैं.
Anyways, great to see you. Continue with Cyrus. I'll just
Yes,
go
yes.
ये तूने क्या किया बेटा, तूने क्या किया सर? अभी इतना गुस्सा हो गया. You upset his whole day because he believes there are true artists and there are non-artists who are disguised as artists. So now that you have come on my show as a true artist and you have poisoned, rather I have poisoned your art by featuring with in the same breath. He's very Gopal is very
गोपाल
touchy
सर
about all
लाइक मैं
this.
घर जा रहा हूँ अभी.
घर
हो गया
बहुत
मेरा
दूर है.
आज का.
Gopal doesn't go home. He drives us mad. Once he comes to South Bombay, boss, you have no idea. वो typical North India Maharashtrian issue होता है यहाँ पे. You know, North Indians who come and then we ask them to leave. He's like that. He comes and sits, and now he's going to have chai. Gopal का speed मेरे जैसा नहीं है. His whole world goes at a different pace. तो अभी चाय, फिर नाश्ता, फिर धुलना पड़ेगा, फिर let me shave. He doesn't shave, by the way. He comes here and shaves. I don't know how they use this office, yaar. Yeah, this is your show, not Gopal's. Can we stick to it?
Yes.
About to say hello. We have not even said hello to you properly. So, yeah, we have to start from the beginning. Even though my dosa has just come, आप ये देख सकते हैं. This is my breakfast. It's wrapped in plastic.
Beautiful. And it's in the proper corporate plate.
In the corporate
Makes
plate,
so much
yeah.
sense. Yes.
And who eats dosa with a spoon? This and that to that size, I don't know. Very strange show we are having today. We've spent 10 minutes and we've not been able to get to you at all. Let's start at the beginning, sir. You have a podcast, so that's the ending,
Yes.
really. But before we start that, sir, ये poetry का interest कहाँ से आते हैं? Obviously, there must be some family background. I mean, who is there some influence?
Funny thing, no one in the family has been inclined to art in general. मतलब
क्या बात है?
पोइट्री छोड़ देते हैं, आर्ट में कोई नहीं था. तो जब मैं आया तो सबसे पहले तो यही सस्पिशन था कि ये इसमें मतलब ये जेनेटिकली आया कहाँ से.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Are you saying कि मैं इस ट्राइब का नहीं हूँ? मैं दूसरा गांव से आ गया.
Pretty much. I was like DNA टेस्ट कर ही लेते हैं, क्या चल रहा है ये.
It's an amazing point, but no, because if somebody gets fame in something totally unrelated to in India, where everything is about the Jagir Zameen being the same and all, DNA being the same and all, suddenly if you become like some guy who's in some other business, everybody's wondering, कहाँ से आ गया? And they also चाचा ऐसा नहीं था, चाची भी ऐसा नहीं. And you know, it's quite fascinating. Have you ever thought about that? कि where do I get my genetics from for this?
हाँ, बिकॉज लाइक आप फैमिली फोटोज और बहुत बार ऐसे निकलता है ना कि मतलब ऐसे पूर्वजों के बारे में बताना शुरू करते कि योर ग्रेट नाना वाज दिस. मेरे ग्रेट नाना बॉडी बिल्डर थे. मैं अपनी बॉडी देखता हूँ, मैं कहाँ है मेरी बिल्ड? मुझे जो मिलना चाहिए था वो तो मिला नहीं है. ये तो कहीं से दूर से मैं लेकर आ गया हूँ. तो आई थिंक लाइक वी सीन बट वी नेवर फाउंड एनीवन हु इज बीन इन द आर्टिस्ट स्पेस.
Bhaijan, let me tell you something else, yaar. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. You might be a bodybuilder, but you might also be an artist. I mean, bodybuilding is an art, firstly. Second चीज है कि he can like poetry and bodybuilding. There is a famous boxer in America, Gene Tunney, back in the day. He was a Shakespeare critic and a poet, a high-level intellect. He was not just a guy who liked Shakespeare. He used to criticize the plays, you know, line by line. He was that good, and he wrote poetry himself. And he was a heavyweight boxing champion of the world. So I love that. I love that.
हैमलेट क्यों लिखा है तूने? हैमलेट क्यों लिखा?
Yeah, Macbeth से इतना witches थे. But you're right. I don't know why we made fun of that. That was so mean. But yeah, it's so. I think that's great that people are not pigeonholed in one thing or the other. Daddy laundry service करता है तो मैं भी करता हूँ. I mean, not that that's a bad thing for all the people out there who are forced to have the karma of 10 generations. God, that's horrible actually when I think about it, yaar. तू है, वो भी था, वो भी था, वो भी था. I mean, there are people who are going 8 to 10 generations with the same line. Did you know Hangman का जो नौकरी है? In fact, Gopal told me about Hangman की नौकरी इंडिया में जो फांसी का काम करते हैं, they basically it's one like subcaste of people and one family. It just passes down for hundreds of years. It's been the same family. That's it.
What?
I can't become a hangman. Yeah, we can't. They won't allow you to get the job. It's like
not
that's
that I
your job.
wanted to go for it, but I was just like, ये बेचारा पूरा परिवार. just like going for it.
उस साइड से भी देखो ना, कभी कभी एक यंगस्टर भी होगा एंड ही विल बी लाइक मुझे
हाँ
एमबीए करवाना है, मुझे सिडनी मेलबर्न जाना है, मुझे पीएचडी करना है, मुझे सोशल साइंसेस में इंटरेस्ट है, एंड नहीं बेटा यू मस्ट किल पीपल फॉर अ लिविंग। अब ये देख ये है डबल नॉट, ये स्कैरी।
I'm just like वो बंदा अपने दोस्तों के साथ प्लान बना रहा है एंड he's like यार सॉरी यार कल मैं नहीं आ सकता यार, किसी को लटकाने जाना है। I'm just like ओ ये क्या हो गया?
Wow. Yeah, and then he goes and joins the pro-life demonstration, against the government or something in the morning. ठीक है. Yeah, come on, let's talk about you a little bit, यार. So,
Yes.
कहाँ से पैदा हुआ, obviously is not the right question, but the birth of this artist, how does that happen? You're saying कि सब लोग अलग-अलग काम करते थे परिवार में. There's no connection with anybody, which I really find incredible. So, where did it come from?
Yeah. I feel like तो आपकी लाइफ में ना एक मोमेंट आता है व्हेन योर सर्च बिगिंस एंड योर सर्च बिगिंस फॉर पर्पस एंड हैप्पीनेस, ठीक है, और वो तभी आती है जब आप अपनी जिंदगी में नाखुश हो। तो देयर वाज अ पॉइंट इन माय लाइफ व्हेन आई वाज वेरी
नाखुश अभी भी है, you're scaring me.
हाँ मतलब वो थोड़ा एक डिस्कम्फर्ट रहना चाहिए हमेशा, वरना आप अगले दिन व्हाई विल यू लुक फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट डे, व्हाई विल यू लुक फॉरवर्ड टू टॉकिंग टू मी ऑन द पॉडकास्ट, यू विल बी लाइक आई एम हैप्पी, फॉरगेट इट ऑल ऑफ दिस।
तो हैप्पीनेस इज अ हॉरिबल थिंग इज व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, और ज्यादा अनहैप्पीनेस भी हॉरिबल होते हैं, बीच में बिटवीन अनहैप्पीनेस एंड हैप्पीनेस वो सही रास्ता है, एम आई राइट? Exactly. Yeah, we are doing poetry. We are doing prose now or something.
Sir, yeah. You are poet, sir.
Thank you. Then?
So I was extremely unhappy at one point because I did not have a job. Like I had just left my job for a play that did not take off. तो मतलब मैंने पैशन के लिए नौकरी छोड़ी, फिर पैशन ने भी मुझे लात मारा, नौकरी को तो मैंने नहीं लात मारा।
ये नौकरी कन्वेंशनल नौकरी है क्या था?
जी बिल्कुल, एक कॉर्पोरेट। I was working in a digital marketing agency. I was a copywriter.
Okay.
So,
so
I left that.
Artistic side. You're writing copy and also in a sense you're an artist from the beginning. Why did you have to give up the writing to do the play? But play तो शाम पे rehearsal होते हैं ना, शाम और रात को, and you can basically do your job and then go.
So I thought of this only. और मैंने उनसे यही कहा था कि भाई मुझे ना लाइक आई जस्ट नीड एन अर्ली लीव बाय 5:30 बिकॉज मैंने सारा टाइम में से निकाल कर देखा था कि यार ट्रेन ट्रैवल के हिसाब से इतना लग जाएगा मुझे, तो मैंने सब वैसे मैनेज कर लिया था। बट देन दे वर लाइक नहीं, यू कांट लीव बाय 5:30। मैं कहा भाई मतलब देख लो। उसके बाद लाइक हाफ डे की कॉन्वर्सेशन भी हुई थी, सो लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्वर्सेशंस हैपेंड एंड देन इट जस्ट डिड नॉट हैपन। तो वो आता है ना, आप मतलब हमने क्योंकि इतनी फिल्में देखी है तो आपको लगता है दिस इज माई मोमेंट। तो मैं ऐसे मेल खोला और मैं कहा बिकॉज ऑफ सो रीजन एंड दैट यू आर नॉट अलाउिंग मी टू फॉलो व्हाट आई रियली लव, आई मस्ट लीव दिस जॉब। ठक। एंड आई वाज लाइक वाह क्या मोमेंट है। घर जाकर पता चला, मम्मी डैडी ने बोला क्या ऐसी छोड़ दी तुमने इम्पल्स में? मेरे माँ बाप शॉक थे, तो ऐसे नौकरी छोड़कर आ गए तुम? एंड आई वाज लेजिट देयर फॉर 3 months, लाइक 3 महीने बस पूरे हुए थे मेरे। मैंने कहा 3 महीने में कौन तुम्हें इतनी छुट्टी देता? मतलब वो लोग भी गलत नहीं है इन व्हाट दे वर डूइंग।
नहीं, बट इफ यू लुक एट फ्रॉम योर साइड, आई एम जस्ट थिंकिंग फ्रॉम अ सीनियर पर्सन साइड कि जो डिजिटल ऑफिस में कोई मेंटर होगा यार, कोई सीनियर होगा जो सोचते हैं कि द यंगस्टर्स, हाउ डू वी गेट द बेस्ट आउट ऑफ देम? Nobody is thinking कि अच्छा यार ये कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर लो। I would think I would do that. ठीक है, आप 5:30 बजे को जाओ, but not every day, maybe 3 days a week. They didn't try to come up with anything from their side. It was just कि 5:30 बजे, that's it. I mean, sorry, no way you can go.
So जो मेरा मेंटर था वो बहुत हरामी आदमी था, बहुत बुरा आदमी था।
That's the word is not mentor. Then the word is bastard only यार। मेरा मेंटर था, मैं bastard था।
हम लोग day 1 से ना, मतलब आप एक like when you enter the corporate life, आप दोस्त बना लेते हो ना बाकी जो आपकी तरह है, सेम कॉपी राइटर्स, ग्राफिक डिजाइनर्स
जो काम नहीं करते। बेसिकली मैं भी कॉपी राइटर था, 1994 की बात है। सॉरी, हाँ
नहीं हम थोड़ा कर रहे थे, पर सो हम लोग लंच के टाइम पे
spoil the market। हाँ,
that's true
sorry
तो हम लोग लंच पे जब बैठते थे, so we would always talk about like upper management and this is how you get information about who's what really। तो हमेशा मेरे मेंटर की बात निकलती है कि भाई बंदा कैसा है, एंड वी जस्ट बी लाइक मुझे तो स्टार्ट, क्योंकि डे 1 पर तो आपको सही लगता है ना यार, ही इज माय मेंटर, ये इसको तो मुझसे ज्यादा आता है, सिखाएगा ये मुझको। मेरे को बैठ के समझाते थे कि भाई ये चूसेगा तुम में से और फिर तुम्हें ही वापस वो ज्ञान देगा कि जो उसने तुमसे सीखा है। तो मैं अरे यार ये स्किल चाहिए मेरे को कि मेरे
तो
को बना रहा है
रिवर्स
और मुझे पता भी नहीं चल रहा।
तो रिवर्स मेंटरशिप है in a way.
एग्जैक्टली
Yeah.
एग्जैक्टली
So he taught you that. In a sense, he has been your mentor. Reverse mentor सिखाया तेरे को. So then obviously you've got something from him. I think boss, we cannot call him harami after this. You have definitely learned something. But not one person reached out and said, "Yahya, तू तो बच्चा है. सुन मेरी बात. ये करो, वो करो. Let's work on something." This is what I want to talk about leadership in India for a minute. I feel that in India we have very poor leadership. When you see young guys and you see they have this issue and all, what you're doing is not completely ridiculous. You're a copywriter who's in the art world and wants to pursue similar projects. Theater is not that far away from writing. So what is the big
Correct.
deal? I mean, where we come from in English theater, which is the worst theater in India, we've all managed like this because people have allowed flexibility to leave, go for rehearsal, come back, as long as the project is done or the deadlines are met, right or not?
करेक्ट
So this
करेक्ट
ये तो आर्मी तो अगर आर्मी है तो या पुलिस है तो मिलिट्री है तो ठीक है. But otherwise, I think little compromise is not going to hurt anyone. Very bad. We will take it up with this digital marketing firm at the right time, sir. I will take the revenge. Anyway,
I have already
and now they're all your followers on Insta. Yeah, और कुछ सुनाओ. So let's move ahead then. So you started the play. The play didn't take off.
Yeah, so the play did not take off for मतलब वही होता है ना, या तो फाइनेंस नहीं मिलता या तो फिर यू डोंट गेट स्लॉट्स और देन द डायरेक्टर गिव्स अप. तो मतलब ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हो गई एक साथ.
बैड
एंड
लक है. पहले से नौकरी
दिस
नौकरी
वाज
के बाद
आल्सो
play. मम्मी डैडी क्या कहा?
मम्मी डैडी का बेस्ट था. उन तो डे 1 पे उनको पता चला कि नौकरी छोड़ दी. डे 14 पे पता चला कि प्ले हो रहा, तो एकदम ऐसे प्यार से आके बोल के गए कि बेटा जिस चीज के लिए छोड़ा था उसने तुम्हें छोड़ दिया, तो अब तो I was like, ऐसे कौन बोलता है?
Sarcasm is the best form of making a point. हाँ.
तो आई वाज लाइक ठीक है, मतलब फिर वापस नौकरी देख लेंगे और क्या. बट देन आई फील लाइक आई जस्ट न्यू इन माय हेड दैट अगर मैं नौकरी को इतना जल्दी छोड़ रहा हूँ तो मे बी आई एम नॉट हैप्पी विद द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इट, है ना. तो आई वाज लाइक आई नीड टू फाइंड समथिंग दैट आई विल बी हैप्पी विद, एंड दैट्स व्हेन आई डिस्कवर्ड ओपन माइक्स. तो मुझे बचपन से ही कीड़ा था. मैं 6th ग्रेड में पहली बार लाइक आई वाज डूइंग अ प्ले इन माय लाइफ. आई डिड अ फर्स्ट प्ले इन माय 6th ग्रेड. तो ऐसा होता है ना कि जब आप प्ले खत्म करते हो और आपको एक ऐसी फीलिंग आती है कि यार यही करना है लाइफ टाइम के लिए, वो एक सडनली एक आवाज आपके कान में आकर बोलती है कि यही करना है जिंदगी भर. तो वो 6th स्टैंडर्ड में हो गया था मेरा. तो अब मुझे स्टेज पे रहने के बहाने ढूंढने थे अपनी लाइफ में. अब वो बहाना मिला ओपन माइक के थ्रू, क्योंकि आई यूज्ड टू सी के लोग आते हैं स्टेज पर, जाते दे परफॉर्म समथिंग दैट दे हैव रिटन.
ओपन माइक कॉमेडी या ओपन माइक कॉमेडी है या पोएट्री?
पोएट्री स्पोकन वर्ड. यस.
ओके.
वो टाइम पर सीन बहुत छोटा था. लाइक ऐसा था कि 15 लोग आते थे मैक्स, 15-20 लोग, और 20 के 20 पोएट्री होते थे. तो बेसिकली हम एक दूसरे को ही सुना रहे हैं
या क्रिटिक्स.
कोई ऑडियंस नहीं थी. हाँ,
बिकॉज़ एक ही साइड के प्लेइंग फील्ड है.
हाँ, अगर ऐसे कुर्सियों से चक्रा भी बना दिया होता ना, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता क्योंकि वो ऐसे माइक पास करते जा रहे एक दूसरे को. क्योंकि ऑडियंस एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट वाजंट देयर. ऑडियंस सिर्फ वो होती थी कि आपने अपने दोस्त को ऐसे कह दिया कि भाई मैं कुछ नया ट्राई कर रहा हूँ, आके सपोर्ट कर लेना. तो कहता हाँ चल ठीक है.
मुझे थोड़ी शर्म आती है इसमें पूछने में, बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू डिसरिस्पेक्ट पोएट्री व्हिच इज ग्रेट. मैं सोचा कि ये मार्केट है या नहीं है. आई मीन अभी भी ऑब्वियसली नाउ यू आर सक्सेसफुल, सो वेयर इज दिस मार्केट?
अभी एक तरीके से बन रहा है ये मार्केट. लाइक
और यंगस्टर्स भी है इसमें. हम सोचते हैं कि सिर्फ सीनियर्स और बूढ़े लोग के थॉट प्रोसेस ऐसा ही है, बट यू आर सेइंग पीपल लाइक योरसेल्फ आर ड्रॉन टू पोएट्री.
यस. क्योंकि आई फील लाइक हाँ
नहीं, मुझे कहना है, इज देयर गंदा पोएट्री आल्सो इन दिस, बिकॉज़ दैट्स आल्सो पोएट्री.
ऑफ कोर्स.
लाइक आई ऑलरेडी थॉट ऑफ ऑल द वर्ड्स. मैंने सोचा कि हिंदी में अगर मैं पोएट बना तो आई हैव टू फाइंड वर्ड्स टू राइम विद नंगा. So I've written them down, and I don't want to use words like ganga because you know the bloody situation in the country कैसा है कि
क्योंकि फिर हो जाएगा पंगा.
और फिर मैं और तू लफंगा. गोपाल is उसका उल्टी चालू है अभी. He's just I can't believe, I wish I could show, I should show you यार ये गोपाल का रिएक्शन. Sorry, back to the market. तो आपने आपका वो कीड़ा है, you have to get on stage पे आ गया, and you said they're all similar like you, people like Yahya who want to just do poetry rather than audience. फिर क्या हुआ?
Yeah. So these are basically people जो अपनी नौकरी से आ रहे हैं, बिल्कुल मेरी तरह ही, कि मतलब ऑफिस से आए और यहाँ पर ऐसे मतलब ऐसे 15 मिनट परफॉर्म करके उनको ऐसा लगता है ना का जिंदगी में आनंद मिल गया कि हाँ ये चीज के लिए हमने पूरा सरवाइव किया है हफ्ता. तो वाला कॉन्सेप्ट चल रहा था. एंड आई फील लाइक वो ओपन माइक्स चलते रहे एंड देन समवन जस्ट केम अप विद द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ लेट्स मेक वीडियोस, कि रिकॉर्ड करके यूट्यूब पर डाल के तो देखते क्या होता है. एंड आई थिंक दैट्स वेयर द बूम केम, क्योंकि जैसे लाइक एक दो वीडियोस यूट्यूब पर डाली गई तो पीपल स्टार्टेड शेयरिंग इट एंड पीपल वर लाइक ओ दिस इज सो ब्यूटीफुल, एंड सडनली वी रियलाइज दैट पीपल एक्चुअली वांट टू हियर दिस. तो देन वी स्टार्टेड सीइंग दिस एज अ स्पेस, मतलब आप इसको वीडियोस बना सकते हो, यू कैन प्रोड्यूस दिस वेल, पोस्ट इट आउट देयर एंड पीपल विल लव इट. तो लाइक इनिशियली हुसैन हैदरी करके एक आर्टिस्ट है, ही इज अ लिरिसिस्ट राइट नाउ. उनकी एक पोएम वायरल हुई थी हिंदुस्तानी मुसलमान करके. फिर अरण्या जौहर की एक पोएम वायरल हुई थी. सो लाइक दिस जस्ट बिकेम स्टेपिंग स्टोन्स फॉर द होल फील्ड, कि मतलब सबको ऐसा पता चला कि हाँ ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है हमारे देश में सडनली. Like this is not I wouldn't say that this is traditional poetry, this is something offbeat जो हम कर ले, spoken word artist जो है. तो आई थिंक वहां से एवरीबडी वाज लाइक ओ दिस इज माय, तुम मेरे दिल की बात कह रहे हो. तो तब से बस फिर चल रहा है कि दिल की बात सुनाते जा रहे हैं हम सबकी कोशिश करके.
अच्छा, तो अभी मैं आई थिंक आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग हल्का सा, व्हिच बेसिकली इट इज मोर लाइक द एंगस्ट ऑफ द यंग पीपल इन पोएट्री फॉर्म. या आई एम थिंकिंग मोर ऑफ ओल्ड फैशन्ड पोएट्री फ्रॉम from the classics. It's not like that, the style.
No, like angst भी है, like rebel poetry भी है, like so anti-establishment poems भी है, romantic poems भी है, फिर हास्य कवि जैसे होते थे वैसी कविताएं भी लिखी जा रही. सो जॉनर्स सबके अपने अपने बना के रखे और सब अब कुछ ना कुछ चीज में स्पेशलाइज कर रहे हैं. अब मैं जैसे बहुत ऐसे चिल हूँ तो मैं लाइफ और लव के बारे में बात करता हूँ, मैं बहुत ऐसे स्लाइस ऑफ लाइफ की बात करता हूँ.
तो आप पॉलिटिक्स और सोशल इश्यूज के बारे में बात नहीं करते?
मैं करता हूँ, बट मैं अपने दोस्तों के बीच में करता हूँ. कैंसिल कल्चर काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग चल रहा है आजकल.
फेयर इनफ. वो भी एक स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट है.
आपका कुछ भी कहना आपको किसी ना किसी के रेडार में तो ले ही आता है. तो आई फील लाइक हाँ, इट इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट स्पेस टू पुट एन ओपिनियन आउट देयर.
True.
So yeah.
But so what you're saying is if you there's a chance you'll also start doing social commentary or political satire or वो सब.
I would love to. I will start with the fact that how as people we cannot listen to.
It's so sad, yaar, that young people your age are thinking like this. I feel this is something which is really a letdown for our country. That the leaders of our country should look at this and see that youngsters are actually editing themselves and saying कि मैं उस रास्ते पे नहीं जाऊंगा क्योंकि you will stop me talking, which is the worst thing in a democracy, that a person has fear before he starts talking, which means we are not cancel culture, as you say.
And it's not just with the establishment. अब तो यूथ भी एक दूसरे को कैंसिल आउट करना शुरू कर चुके हैं ना. लाइक कोई भी कुछ डालता है, लाइक अभी वो पॉलिटिकल करेक्टनेस की इतनी जरूरत आ गई है लोगों में कि मतलब तुम कुछ भी कहो पॉलिटिकली करेक्ट होना चाहिए. मैं कहा तो फिर लाइक देयर इज नथिंग रॉ लेफ्ट ना. इफ आई हैव टू ड्राफ्ट माय रॉनेस इन द थर्ड ड्राफ्ट, कि मतलब मैं कहूँ कि गाइज आई एम सॉरी इफ आई हर्ट योर ओपिनियंस और ऐसा
डिस्क्लेमर.
हाँ, तो बहुत मुश्किल है. देन आई एम नॉट बीइंग ऑनेस्ट, आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू केटर टू यू पीपल. Like if you want to listen to a person honest, it has to be like there has to be that space.
और दुनिया में, सारी दुनिया में आई थिंक ओपिनियंस इम्पोर्टेंट है. वो ओपिनियन अनअडल्टरेटेड रॉ ओपिनियन इम्पोर्टेंट है. बाकी तो मैं भी कर सकता है फिर ना. You know what is the correct thing to say. That's no problem, yaar. We can do that. Like I began this show. I'm talking about the police. I'm not happy with Mumbai police during pandemic. But other people they want to put money and biscuits and mangoes and send them. I said why? वो लोग क्या किया? firstly, they are just doing their job. Secondly, they have bullied a lot of people unnecessarily. I've not seen them helping people with shopping, old people in lines. They come and shout and scream, bang the stick on the floor, tell me to take my dog inside. This is all just bullying, dadagiri. So why can't we talk about that? But most people say, you shouldn't talk about that. You should not say anything. They're doing. It's all. It's very sad that we can't be opinionated in a normal way. Thank God, Yahya, you're listening to me and agreeing. So that there are two of us in lockup. There'll be two of
दोनों
us
साथ में
together.
जाएंगे.
हाँ, साथ में जाएगा, and we'll ask for a special rate for bail also.
But वही है ना, it is so dependent on what your experience is. अभी सब कहते हैं don't talk about them in a negative way. Now what if you've had a negative experience with them?
Exactly.
I have had positive experience, but what if you've had negative experiences? So why can't you talk about it? And it's good if we talk about it.
My angst is with this upper middle class urban people like myself in my building and lanes and all, who want to take mango and go to police station and show bow down and pow down and all. I'm saying, why? They're not fighting in the front and dying. What is the big deal? They're doing their job in a pandemic. It's their job. Just like your job is to be a poet or my job is to do a stupid podcast or whatever it is. ये अपना नौकरी है.
Correct.
What have they done beyond the duty which is so great or something? That's all I'm saying. And then rich people want to patronize them and say, let's give 2 mangoes each. I don't understand that. That's my problem.
I feel like rich people want to patronize everybody with a camera on them.
Correct, yeah. And Mrs. Sharma will wear the right lipstick or blush on डाल के और 3 रंगे बाल में और बड़ी-बड़ी Louis Vuitton bag के साथ driver गाड़ी लाओ, go to the station, give 2 mangoes and come back. There's something wrong with this picture, right or no?
Yeah, that it's been captured as a picture. That's the wrong part, because
and everybody's forced to smile for that 1 second. Mango, Sharma.
Because then मतलब प्यार था भाई, प्यार था ये प्यार नहीं था.
प्यार तो नहीं है. I think you have written something about Pyar in one of your. Let's get to films fast. So you became very famous with the poetry. Arey, you're talking too much, Yahya. We'll run out of time. बात बंद कर यार. बोलती बंद ना हो. Don't talk for 2 minutes.
Yes, sure. I will give 2 mark answers now.
So very quickly, you came into the poetry. This thing, you became a name very fast. Your Insta following went through the roof, etc., etc. How did you get into films? How did that happen? Obviously, somebody was watching you on digital.
So basically मैंने अपनी short film पहले बनाई with a college senior. It's called शहरिया तुम, and we made it for this festival called Mami. It's a Mumbai Film Festival. और ये मैं college के time से मैं इस festival में जाता था. यहाँ पर मुझे ऐसे world cinema ये सब देखने मिला था. तो I was like, oh भाई यहाँ पर अगर आ गया ना तो मजे आ जाएंगे life में. So like we made the film, we got selected, and our film was screened in PVR with other 9 films that were in competition. तो वो एक तरीके का सपना था जो पूरा हो गया, because you take your mom and she sees you on a big screen, लोग चिल्ला रहे, and suddenly she's just like, यार मेरा बेटा है वहाँ पर. तो that happened.
She didn't ask. My mom would have asked in the middle कि शाहरुख खान नहीं है, प्रियंका चोपड़ा भी नहीं. That kind of questioning didn't come. Thank God
I think she's made peace with it कि अभी नहीं आ रहे इसके साथ ये लोग, थोड़ा
2-3 साल की बात है, हो जाएगा.
2-3 साल बाद, इंशाल्लाह.
It's a matter of time. So now before we get into the podcast, what do you do now? You're doing everything at the same time. Poetry भी चालू है, YouTube भी चालू है. You are dabbling with Radio Mirchi in the middle, which is a full-time job also. Then you've got films which you're making on the side, writing lyrics. So what is Yahya today? What are you doing? Everything.
I try to, so my main goal is to be an actor, और बाकी सब कुछ is the support for that main goal. तो जैसे poetry is my form of expression, but that also keeps the livelihood. मतलब घर में थोड़ी ऐसे पैसे आते रहते हैं उसकी वजह से, touch wood. तो that the passion of acting stays alive because I am a poet.
अरे बाबा, तो
so I have,
पहला तूने बताया ना, you're doing everything wrong, Yahya. Don't mind. You're doing everything wrong. You're wasting time with poetry and all this. You have to just go to the casting couch. Casting couch with cheese. Find the casting couch. I will not take the name of directors, both male and female. Compromise. Compromise is a Hindi shabd. It's not English word. Compromise is only used in Hindi. Compromise. You go deep into Jharkhand, they'll use the word compromise with you. Some corporate guy will tell you, "Nokri chahiye, compromise." So just compromise. What is this poetry chakkar here? What is all this art? You're wasting art. Just lie on the sofa. True. My good friend Kunal Vijayakar is a household name today because he compromised. Gopal, compromise. गोपाल क्या करेगा ये?
Compromise.
इकबाल, हक, मंटो, ये क्या करेगा इसके साथ? He has to compromise. The writer's name is compromise, right, Gopal? Always remember, compromise का complete works. Sorry, I'm
I
just wasting
think
your time.
I think मुझे ये नहीं करना था, इसलिए I took the long route. I was like,
Really long
थोड़ा
route,
struggle
यार.
कर लेते हैं.
And now they'll want to typecast you poet, RJ, in those all the avatars that you've done already. ठीक है. So let's talk about the podcast, then we'll bring in the one and only Silvery for the break. तो ये podcast
Yes.
के बारे में, of course, this is the modern world. Everyone wants to do podcast. Tell me. And the Yahya podcast is
So it's called Youthfully Yours.
during the
It's
pandemic.
basically during the pandemic, yeah. पिछले साल ना, मतलब क्योंकि हम घर पे बैठे थे, तो मुझे एक कीड़ा था कि मुझे लोगों से बात करनी थी. हाँ.
छोटा सा joke if you don't mind. It's called
Please,
Youthfully
please,
Yours because the other title, Truthfully Yours, a lot of Indians have taken. So don't. Not available, beta. What to do? You had to go with this, yeah. Sorry. So during pandemic, तूने ये idea आया कि obviously I have to do something podcast.
हाँ. So I came up with this whole concept that I wanted to talk to college students. So it's basically like जो ऐसे tagline बोलते हैं ना, या फिर one-liner selling point was के it is a podcast by the youth for the youth. So we discuss anything and everything that as the youth we think that this is something that affects us. तो राइट फ्रॉम रोमांस टू पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज हम कोशिश करते हैं हर चीज के बारे में थोड़ी बात करने की. सो वी स्पोकन अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ, वी स्पोकन अबाउट द जनरेशन गैप बिटवीन आवर पेरेंट्स एंड अस. तो हर टॉपिक के ऊपर थोड़ी ना थोड़ी बात की जाती है, बिकॉज आई स्ट्रांगली फील दैट हमारा जो फ्यूचर है इज पीपल अंडर 25 जो अभी कॉलेज से निकलेंगे. तो आई कंसिडर दैट देयर शुड बी अ प्लेटफॉर्म जहां पर ये सब एक साथ आते हैं, बात करते हैं, एक दूसरे को सुनते हैं. देयर इज अ गुड शेयर ऑफ ओपिनियन एंड कहीं ना कहीं आई फील लाइक दैट इज द ग्रोथ. तो हाँ, आई एम आल्सो यूजिंग दिस थिंग.
नहीं पर ये MTV के जैसा है. आई रिमेंबर MTV के टाइम में ऑलवेज 19 और 30 के बीच में मार्केट अपना 19 और 30 के बीच में होगा. कॉन्सेंट्रेट फोकस ऑन दैट, थिंक अबाउट दैट. बट मैं सोचा कि जब आप 26 हो गया, आपके हिसाब से यू सेइंग अंडर 25, अब 26 हो गया, डू दे लीव watching the podcast? I mean, how does that work? You suddenly feel कि isolated कि यार उसने कहा कि 25 और less audience है यहाँ पे, 26 पे I'm like the old uncle.
तो आपको दिल से 25 होने की जरूरत है सर.
ठीक है, पहला क्यों नहीं बताया? ठीक है. I love that because as we age, that's all we have, beta. That's all we have. That we may be 50 but we feel 25.
Exactly. क्योंकि अगले साल से मैं भी फ्रॉम हार्ट 25 रहने वाला हूँ, वरना बाय एज 26 हो जाऊंगा मैं.
देखा, सुसाइड इन अ वे यार. 26 हो गया तो बंद कर पॉडकास्ट. You don't need the government to shut us down. We can do it ourselves. Yeah. Or I remember one man telling me, I am 45, but I like to feel girls 25. He actually said this. And I'm not endorsing it. It's a horrible statement to make. But he was trying to say कि मैं young हूँ. I know men always have to do some bragging. The bragging has to be there. So I didn't expect him to say that. He's like, I'm 45, but I like to feel, pause, girls who are 25. Yeah, that sounds so creepy. Apologize. He's a terrible man. He's not a terrible man. He's a little drunk here. जाने दो. जो हुआ हुआ. He's moved on.
Wow.
And boss, yeah, you and I both know कि जिन लोग ऐसा बात करते हैं ना, they do nothing, right? The men who always tom के I have a girlfriend here and I have this girl there and all, they basically live alone with their dog in the house with their mother and that's it. This is also a very Parsi story, by the way. Dog, house, mother. Till death do us part, literally. Sorry, we have to bring in Silvery. We're taking a small break. Yeah. Lots more to talk about. I hope if there anything, you've got too many things to talk about. I can't fit in everything. You tell me. जो भी whatever subject you want to touch on, we can touch on. In 1 second, we're taking a break. We have a sponsor who's paying crores of rupees to somebody else. And we call in Silvery. Of course. Come on, yaar. We would have sent you a car and all that, no? For coming on the show. Hello, Silvery.
Right.
Hello, hi, good morning. Good morning. Hello. Sorry, I was just talking to my girlfriend and cancelling plans with her, because yeah, not on that dog. I wasn't playing with my dog. But
yeah, right. He also lives alone with his mom and dog. That's what he's saying.
Damn it.
Silvery, are you a poet?
No. I can be poetic sometimes, but not really a poet.
But you are similar because he started with the open mics. But I didn't know that poetry open mics were that popular and all. But obviously, it's a market. And then you started with comedy
open mics. poetry open mics are actually get better audiences than comedy open mics very often. Like you'll see like a lot of people at a poetry open mic and the comedy open mic will be right afterwards. So you'll be like, oh, okay, it looks like good man. Some of these people will hopefully stay back for the comedy open mic, but none of them do. None of them do.
Actually, that's a very good point, because I'm thinking the poetry, you either involved, you can't, it's not a half-hearted thing. You like poetry,
Yeah.
you're there. You're not going to say, "Okay, मैं try करता है." It's not, that type of guy is not coming. But for comedy, anyone can just walk in and walk out. Poetry,
Kuch bhi
open mics
mehta.
are the worst. Kuch bhi mehta. Yeah, hai koi
Akash Mehta.
jawab?
This is Akash Mehta.
Yes, yeah, we can see the picture. It's Akash, the kuch bhi. Yeah. Please answer him. Poetry is funny.
No. I feel like there was a lot of emotional range there. There was a lot of rage. They
Yeah.
have more audience because most of them are poets only. No, sir.
That's from comedy
But
open
that's what you
mics
said.
also.
Yeah, but that's what you said, yaar. तूने खुद कहा that it's all.
I was just gonna be like, no, that's true.
but it's original poetry, right? You cannot do
Yeah,
old
it's
poetry.
original poetry. Yeah.
It has to be original. हाँ.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Of course, आप पुराना भी किसी का सुना सकते हो, but then give credit. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने गालिब साहब का कुछ सुना दिया अपना नाम लेकर and everyone was like, wow,
Or
यार,
change one,
कितना
two words
modern day
and say
poet.
it's yours. 1-2 words. You have to modernize one word. Put one English word, adventure in the middle. Yeah. That's it.
Plagiarism in style.
In style. Shan se,
Yeah.
as we say. ठीक है. So Silvery, any questions for the great Yahya? He's done a lot of different things, but the truth is he wants to be an actor, and that's where his heart lies. And hopefully after pandemic, we will see him launch in some big banner film. Dharma Productions presents. Yahya वो K से चालू होना पड़ेगा ना? So it'll become Kaya. If you go to Dharma or Ekta, it's a K, right? It has to be K, right?
Correct.
हाँ.
मतलब वो लोग का प्रोडक्शन नाम के होता है, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. वरुण did not go there as Karun.
Correct. So only the title you're saying, na? ठीक है.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Can you imagine all the guys from Ludhiana who are going to look for, auditions? They all come with only the guys with the K name. Karamjit. Kuldeep.
Myself, Kuldeep. Yes.
Myself, Kuldeep. I was Yashpal, but I had to change it.
I can't add a K in the front of my name because it sounds very bad.
Kantarish.
Don't do that. Just don't.
Problem with Indian audience is always going to be bilingual, so we can get so many jokes just out of wrong pronunciation. It's great fun.
Yeah.
Like I told you so many times, my first show, I had to introduce London Broccoli. This is the first corporate. The name is LUND and Broccoli. It's the Swedish company. LUND BROCKLEY. And I did not even read it before being on stage. And how to say it with a straight face? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for London Broccoli. Very soft voice came out.
That's such an MC voice.
Thank you, beta. Thank you. मैं तो MC, BC सब कुछ करता मैं. I abuse myself. Hey, do you get heckled in poetry like you can get in comedy? Open mics में?
हाँ, कभी कभार हो सकता है.
Like क्या कहेगा?
Open mics में क्यों? Shows
that
में
also has to be shan se, na? They can't say MC, BC. They'll have to. It'll be a poetic criticism.
Not necessary. हमारे में भी ऐसे होता है. चल उतर. This is like चल उतर.
Slaging.
आपको लगा ऑडियंस भी पोएटिक क्या आ रही है कि नहीं हम गाली भी देंगे तो इतने पोएटिक तरीके से कि पहले बंदा ताली बजाएगा फिर उतरेगा.
Yeah. I mean, you always think the poet ki culture, audience is always one up intellectually, behavior, Tamese culture in a sense. So when it comes to one up, everything has to be done with a certain class. Let's say class. Like refinement. Class. And I want no disrespect, Silvery, but comedy audience here, you know the guys 5 drinks down. I mean, come on, what a huge. Do you take it personally when they heckle you when they're drunk?
No.
I mean, it's
depends on what part of your joke they're heckling at. If they're heckling at the premise, then you understand, oh, it's just they're heckling at the premise. If they're heckling at the joke, then that just means you're not funny. So, that part you can take seriously a little bit.
No, but some people are laughing. Some people are laughing, right? Agar 100% audience, 80% are laughing. And 10-15 people who are definitely there to be irritants. You must have come across those types, yaar. You've done so many shows. They just come there to do panga, yaar. You hear their own voice.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. True.
I think I'm going to stick to poetry, yaar. They seem better.
Yeah, have you had to have you already given auditions? Like, have you had to go through some of the audition process at this point?
Don't say process, उसका अलग meaning है.
I used to give a lot of auditions college के time पर. मैं आपको
Oh, wow.
आराम नगर में दिखता होता.
No.
With a vada pav. That's
That's
No,
such a
I've done all
cliche,
that, yeah.
yaar. Such a
Yeah, yeah.
cliche.
Aram
Till
Nagar,
today,
Char
when you
Bangla,
call Aram Nagar, fuck.
all of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
it was actually true क्योंकि हम लोग कॉलेज में जाते थे एंड हमें पता चल जाता था कि आज तो कुछ ना कुछ ऑडिशन रहता था और अगर नहीं भी किसी ने कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर ने हमें कॉल किया हम तब भी पहुंच जाते थे कि कहीं ना कहीं तो हाथ मार ही देंगे कि कहीं ना कहीं वॉक इन कर लेंगे तो एक वड़ा पाव हाथ में लंच का और
A lot of
चले
not
जाते
fit,
थे
not
जो
fit. Fit, not
Not
fit,
fit.
fit, not fit.
it's so funny because I have this beard now. तो कॉलेज के टाइम पे भी मैं मेंटेन रखता था थोड़ी बहुत क्योंकि क्या है कि जैसे बियर्ड निकाल देता हूँ तो मैं 16 साल का लड़का बन जाता हूँ ठीक है तो लाइक ऑडिशन में जाता था दे वुड बी लाइक द एज रिक्वायरमेंट इज 22 एंड वी डोंट नीड द बियर्ड तो आई वुड गिव द ऑडिशन इन द बियर्ड दे वुड बी लाइक ओ नो इट्स गुड बियर्ड निकाल कर आओ तो मैं कहा सर बहुत छोटा हो जाऊंगा सर तो नहीं यार बिना बियर्ड ही चाहिए तो बियर्ड निकाल के आए आप कौन हो आपको तो नहीं ले पाएंगे अभी मैं कहा मैंने पहले ही बोला था कि मैं छोटा हो जाऊंगा मेरे पास दाढ़ी भी नहीं अब 4 दिन में ऑडिशन नहीं दे सकता
बट इससे बेटर आप एक विग मैन्युफैक्चरर से एक बियर्ड और मुस्टैच मंगाओ और फिर आप पॉकेट में रख ले और फिर आप ऑडिशन दे दो और फिर बोला एक और मौका एंड दिस टाइम आई विल बी 5 years older टक 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 करके वापस learn from the seniors. Yes, just because my career is going nowhere doesn't mean I don't have advice to give you. Yeah, come on, for God's sake, yaar, soon.
But what do you guys think of the audition? Like, auditioning is a very artificial process. Right?
rubbish.
Doesn't even
It's a rubbish
it's not even
process,
indicative of how good or bad you
can't-
can act, or
even in
how good or
acting,
bad you will
Tell me,
be once
when
you're
you-
in front
when-
of the camera. Yeah.
correct. And when they say action, for example, and you're supposed to suddenly act, it's just ridiculous. Also, I think it makes more sense if they leave the actors alone, give them a little time, and then let the cameras just roll on their own. You know, and the moment is created because action, it always you start with like you running a race, 100-meter ka race, 1, 2, 3, bang. It just for me the whole process is stupid. Actually,
I feel like the action is more for everybody around else.
Yeah.
कि मतलब चुप हो जा तू चुप हो जा साउंड तैयार है ना तो कैमरा तैयार है ना क्योंकि लाइक
टेक्स्ट
ऑन
भी कर
सेट
सकते हैं
हमने
ना अभी आजकल टेक्स्ट करो ना डीओपी ऑन बस हो गया हम थिंकिंग अगर वो लव सीन है या किसी की मौत का सीन है यू नो आई मीन द सम मदर इज डाइंग और समथिंग लाइक दैट एंड यू से एक्शन इट्स लाइक हाइटेंड रूम और फिर completely different emotion is being played whatever.
I feel like because in rooms which I have been in or sets where I've been in, like the directors have always been, or these are also indie guys, so they've always been like, whenever you are ready, like वो camera is rolling, whenever you are ready, शुरू हो जाओ.
better.
तो उनको पता है स्टार्टिंग का ऐसे 2-3 मिनट काट देंगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. फिल्म वाला जमाना नहीं रहा कि हमें मतलब क्लिप्स काटनी है. एडिटर बैठ के आराम से ले लेगा, निकाल लेगा. तो हाँ.
Correct.
Yeah.
But audition process be yeah. Sorry.
Have you had any experience with like fake auditions, like or fake casting directors or something? Like they try to scam you. Yeah, they try to scam you and all, man. Like
we have done it.
They try to make it seem like they're a legit operation, like for some project they're actually casting for, and then they will tell you by the end of the auditioning round, they will tell you to start investing in the project, and because they're taking only actors who are invested and serious about the project. It's ridiculous. People actually fall for that, though. Yeah. That's very
sad. I know a few people who have had these interactions, but मेरे साथ कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ है.
Also, Yahya is an established guy. He's known name and all that. They won't f with him. But definitely there are enough jokers. Not jokers are right wrong word. Innocent log jo hai, who especially parents with kids. You know, trying to get the kid in and all. Somebody interiors of India, you tell him कि boss 50,000 की खर्च होना करना पड़ेगा because you have to do this X Y Z Z Z. It's for her career. She will rock it after that. The poor father is putting 50,000 thinking next Priyanka Chopra, and then they don't even get in front of a camera after that. Disappear completely.
But
it's a good.
But this is not the only scam. But this is not the only scam that happens. The other scam is also कि बहुत ऐसे like when I was like college में तो वो टाइम पर मैं भी एकदम ऐसे बहुत शरीफ टाइप्स तो there was this one guy I remember he told
बहुत बढ़िया है ये शरीफ का एक्टिंग बहुत बढ़िया है सर for some reason. Sorry.
What he used to do is कि मतलब audition में ना he would catch like these 10-15 people and he'd be like कि मैं तुम बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हो एक काम करो, तुम मुझे अपना नंबर दो, मैं तुम्हें like I will refer you to other directors and everything. तो I was like, oh, this is great man, he trusts me. अब ऐसा होता था कि the point was if you got selected, he would do all the conversation. Basically, he just wanted to be the middleman. And एक बार वो बन जाता है ना कि सपोज एक प्रोजेक्ट उसके थ्रू मिल गया आपको, ठीक है, तो वो कहता था तुम पैसे की बात मत करना, मैं करता हूँ, ठीक है, और फिर वो 80% पैसा वो रख लेता और आपको 20% देता. तो
No,
फॉर अ
actual
प्रोजेक्ट
figure,
दैट यू, हाँ,
That is, yeah,
actual figure
you
पता
never
नहीं
know the
because
actual figure.
you don't deal with
that,
that
that,
guy.
yeah, true.
Exactly.
That's how the podcast is done. Silvery is my manager, and he's
Yeah.
got an Audi,
Yeah.
electric Audi.
Yeah,
He's just
correct.
bought
All
yesterday.
these riches. Yeah. I
मेरे
know.
पास माँ है. That's what I
आपके
have.
पास भाड़े का सूट है.
हाँ, वो भी आधा घंटा में वापस देना पड़ेगा. और ये गोपाल का एक्टिंग चालू हो गया. गोपाल इधर आके एक्टिंग कर लो प्लीज. If you have to do any acting, do it in front of the camera for God's sake. Sorry, Silvery. All these actors want footage and they feel insecure. ये वो मेरा dosa है. He's eating the dosa. Unbelievable, yaar. I'm live here. This is not fair. I don't want to eat and waste Yaya's time. You can
Feels
see,
like a very
guys.
corporate environment now. Feels like a very corporate environment. कि
इतना-
कोई किसी और के प्लेट में से खा के निकल गया. Yes, स्कूल की भी याद आ गई.
Yes, it's a very leftist society here at CNBC. Chalo, shall we go to AMAs?
Yes, let's go to AMAs.
Now, Kunal in the background is saying you haven't
Kunal.
started AM. They're all being critical, Silvery, because we're supposed to shoot. I will not start the AMAs.
I mean, it's we have time till 11. That's
we have time
that's
till
how it goes.
11. Yahya has given us the time.
Yeah,
Senior actor.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
All
Gopal
right,
Puchta, what is AMAs? He's been on the show 8 times. Ask me anything. Ask me anything.
All right.
Artists,
The-
actors.
this
Bolo.
first one comes from Harvesh Kasad. He says, "Hey all, do you think poetry can be a medium to put up a political satire message or any other message pertaining to current affairs, like Cyrus's famous show on TV?"
Famous.
Sorry, I did not hear the question. Sorry.
No problem.
Can-
It says,
Ah,
"Do you think poetry can be a medium to put up a political satire message or any other message pertaining to current affairs, like Cyrus's famous show on TV?"
I think everything can be a medium if the audience is ready for it. अगर आप एज एन ऑडियंस कलेक्टिवली एब्जॉर्ब करने को तैयार हो तो, क्योंकि हमारे पास तो कंटेंट पड़ा है. लाइक आई नो लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु बेसिकली जस्ट राइट सटायर्स, पॉलिटिकल सटायर्स और सटायर्स इन जनरल. The reason why it's so difficult for them to get into the market is because इतना ज्यादा resistance है audience के इसमें. Like today we are so obsessed with our own opinions कि हमें किसी तीसरे इंसान की सुननी ही नहीं है. We are like, हम सुनते नहीं है, हम काउंटर कर देते हैं. So I feel like that is the difficult part which we need to get through. Varna, yes, I'm damn sure it's a great medium for satires.
But you've also got such tradition like Rumi, Firdausi. There's so many great writers of the past who are, turn of phrase and things like that. I remember one of the great philosophers I'm very fond of is Shoaib Akhtar, the cricketer. Okay, and I met him for some show. And I remember him telling me something about the fights between him and, say, Inzi and all. So there was like the Namaz type in the Pakistan team and the non-Namaz type. And they would clash over that. So one day he would say, Namaz Padho, is going on irritating Shoaib. So Shoaib told him, Inzi bhai, the beard is in Islam. Islam is not in the beard. I found out later, I think it's Rumi or something, but it just sounded fabulous, turn of phrase. You make your point immediately, just with one line. It's poetic, it's witty, and that it's satire. It's literally superb here. So I think, frankly speaking, poetry in any language can really hit home when it comes to satire. But like you said, apna kya problem hai? We have to do double satire. We have to write within the lines so that it's not so clear, so that no one takes offense, and then hopefully you understand. So in all that layered thinking,
कितना सारा प्रॉब्लम है लेयर्स है यहाँ
वही है यार. तो हम 5 बजे उठ के पहला लाइन करो, फिर सेकंड लाइन करो, फिर तीसरा लाइन करो. एक्चुअल मीनिंग चौथा और पांचवी लाइन के बीच में होते हैं. And then you let the audience decide after that. But Gopal is willing. Gopal is fears nothing. Gopal कहते हैं कि if you're an artist, be true to your heart. Say anything you want. Yeah. And die.
Yes. That is the way to go for it.
Please promote Gopal show Candy. हाँ जी, ये pornographic picture नहीं है.
Yes.
Candy is actually
Cyrus,
Insta handle.
We were supposed to interview the cast members of Candy this past weekend.
Yeah.
They cancelled.
Yeah.
So that's on Candy now.
Ronit Roy was supposed to come on.
And
from
Richa
Candy.
Chadda. Yeah.
and Richa
Yeah.
Chadda.
Right.
Yeah.
Both my friends did not turn up. Gopal is willing to do the show. Huh?
Yes.
And he's
Yes.
very much integral to Candy, by the way.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed with Candy thriller. I thought it'd be such a dirty picture. I just felt erotic entertainment immediately. And then I heard Gopal is in the show, so I knew
With the
it's like
name.
with the name. Yeah, really. What is Candy? Explain it, no? Sorry, I'm doing 2 podcasts.
Okay.
Just like अगले वाले का content भी अभी मिल जाएगा मुझे.
There's 3 sisters, Candy, Randy, and Andy. Now, Andy is interesting. You're not part of the podcast. You don't talk in the middle. Sorry, they are, see now they are getting left out. They're instead of focusing on their work, they're more interested in our podcast. I don't know if you can hear Kunal. It's horrible. Silvery, next.
Yes, next one comes in from Kashin Shetty. This is very interesting. He says, just out of curiosity, which was the first R-rated film you guys ever watched and bragged about with your friends? Mine was Pulp Fiction, and I only understood the basement scene 2 years later. Great reference, Kashin.
But matlab, in the cinema.
I mean, any movie that you watched, like maybe late
In
at
the
night.
video cassette, my generation video cassette,
Yeah.
I remember clearly. But cinema,
Yeah.
I don't remember. But cinema, kya tha, yeah? Over 18, they would show nothing. What would come to India
That's
in
true.
the 80s and 90s. But for me,
Yeah.
for us, there was a movie called Porky's, Porkys, which is some American Pie style film. It's in that genre. Those college
like a sex comedy.
discovering
Yeah.
girls and all that in the college, American college. So Porky,
ये
somebody's
Indian
brother
बना
had
था.
it. No. It was culturally very bad for any country. It was really a bad film. But किसी का बड़ा भाई, how the older brother has the collection and somebody had it and all. So it was a big deal. So हम लोग सब 15, 16-year-olds sitting around, or the parents have gone for dinner or out of town or whatever. So we had a VCR, TV sitting there, and then all getting aroused and looking at each other and feeling uncomfortable and all first time. But it was not even like a porn. It's like just a single X. Wow. That was the first. That I remember clearly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Gaurav Badija ka ghar mein, if he ever hears the podcast, his parents had gone out town or something, so we had the TV and VCR to ourselves. All
The parents are listening right now.
well, maybe
घर में क्या हो रहा था?
and maybe they have the VCR. Chalo dekhte hain Porky's. heard so much about it. So what about you, Yahya?
Yeah.
सच बताओ
यार Pulp Fiction is a very smart answer यार. मुझे ऐसा लगता है Pulp Fiction was definitely not like Pulp Fiction. तो मैं
Pulp Fiction
काफी देख लेता. हाँ. But I think
titillating
do
film
you
है.
remember? Do you remember that film of Akshay Kumar and Bobby Deol?
Oh, yeah,
What
Ajnabi.
is it?
Ajnabi.
Ajnabi.
Yeah.
That's not
No, that's about like swinging. That's almost like
that was an
swinging, right?
18 plus.
But they don't show
That was
anything.
18 plus when I
No,
was a
but
child.
Implied.
In theaters.
Like, implied swinging.
Implied का क्या होगा यार? Implied.
Yeah, it's implied that he's
Implied
drunk
is
and
just-
he sleeps
just
with the
thought
other one's wife or
process.
something.
That's just thought process. I'm saying every show. The adult thing is about the physical visual. That's why they make it adult. What is wrong
but
with
I
this
was-
generation?
Yahya is all about the words and the thinking of it. right?
You are too much about
That's why-
poetry and words.
Poetry.
No,
yeah.
no,
About the
no,
visual.
What?
Sir,
I'll
sir,
tell
को-
you, it was an
cancel
adult
the
film in
cancel culture
theater.
of nudity.
Nudity.
Theater में?
नहीं हाँ थिएटर में देखा इसलिए तो मैं कह रहा हूँ दैट वाज द फर्स्ट फिल्म बिकॉज 18 प्लस थी और मैं था वहां पर. अब उसमें एक सीन आता है जहां पर है ना आई स्पेसिफिकली रिमेम्बर दिस सीन जहां पर अक्षय कुमार एंड करीना कपूर आर सिटिंग. दिस इज अ ड्रीम सीक्वेंस फॉर बॉबी देओल. ठीक है तो अक्षय कुमार एंड करीना कपूर आर देयर and there is a tongue touch that happens. It's a very weird shot, but there's a tongue touch, and my mom literally just went like ऐसे. मत देखो. I was just like, हाँ क्या हो गया?
How old were you?
I have to be something around
Close to 18.
10, I think. No, I was not close to 18. I was really young.
But what is it? It was
Yeah,
not an
it's-
adult picture. It was a universal picture. A UA accompanied by adult.
Yeah, UA. I think it was
UA.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now my story doesn't make sense. Now, guys, I have to think of another film. What is this?
Hey, your story makes sense, but only thing is that you're caught with your parents, so you can't. I'm thinking that that's a boy thing when the boys get
No.
together and watch the film for the first
Yeah.
time. Now, of course, आप लोग के पास digital options hai, so it's different. But for us, we had to find that one cassette, find the VCR, find the open house, get the right guys, right time, keep the timing. We always had one guy on watch because he had a sister also who can come home from anywhere. So one chutia had to stand at the window and he's just trying to watch.
क्या हो रहा
Because
है?
you don't know how much my generation has suffered, Yahya.
I know,
And
I
after
know.
that,
The privacy issue was really hard for you. I know.
and
अब क्या?
and afterwards, कुछ दिखाया भी नहीं. It's just little bit of frontal nudity. That's it. For that, we desperate South Mumbai frustrated Indian males, generation after generation. This is what we did. Oh, it's horrible. Really sad. I blame the government.
What all hormones do to you? This is a clear example.
Now I
Hormone
now
के
I
लिए
miss.
क्या करना पड़ता है?
Yeah, now I miss those hormones. वो चली,
me-
वो चली.
किसी और के लिए.
Eh,
Me and my
exactly.
me and my friends, for us, the movie was Species. I don't know if you guys ever saw Species.
Oh,
It was about an alien who has
yes.
sex and then while having sex kills the other person.
What's
It's like
the-
a hot humanoid alien,
Is
not like a.
The female is very
Yeah.
famous, no? The heroine or whatever. The
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Natasha Henstridge.
Yeah, Henstrido or something.
Henstrido.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Species
Cyrus
and,
is like,
and its sequels.
How fast you'll remember these unpronounceable names and all, just because Gandhi picture thi. That's the beautiful thing of the whole thing.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
that's-
You don't know any. Give me this Natasha unpronounceable ka ek aur picture. Give me one more movie. Come on. Bloody nonsense. Unbelievable. Now she's Virat Kohli of bloody film. Suddenly, you know everything about us. Unbelievable. Disgusting. It's very disgusting. Titanic's
Oh
painting
my
scene,
God.
as Cyrus says, Titanic.
Titanic.
Was Titanic?
well-
Was Titanic adult? Adult thing, है ना? Titanic.
Yeah,
Put it in
yeah,
UA.
yeah. It
I
had
think
a
that
UA
scene-
version
that
जिसके
scene
अंदर
have-
nudity वाला scene काट दिया था.
हाँ, correct. Yeah.
दे वाले सब देखो कि बोट डूब गई है. ये मत देखो
Yeah,
कि क्या हुआ था.
Yahya's keeping a ledger. Yahya's keeping a ledger. Indian government ने कहा था, see? Like, naam, timing, wasted. I want my money back. Fair enough. Why do they do this to us? Like we are immature and every other culture in the world can watch the scene, but Indians can't watch the scene. Well, maybe they're right.
Maybe because 5 boys were in one room and one boy was like, कोई आ ना जाए, just to see tits.
Yeah, but understand, this is not my kahani. This is whole India's kahani in the 80s and 90s. Wherever all the guys did the same thing. What do you think they did, yaar? If somebody said that my parents are going out of town, the VCR had just come, everybody would bro, come on, yaar. Let us come over.
Come on, man.
If you
बड़ी
don't want
screen
people
पे
over,
देखेंगे.
the house is invaded if the parents leave. Silvery,
True, fair enough.
I was living like a Punjabi family for many years. You have no idea. 10,000 people in and out of my house. I don't know who they are. Chalo, next. Do we have time?
Alright.
We have time.
Next one comes in from Chirag Chaplot. He says, would you rather recite poetry with pure Urdu/Hindi, or would you rather mix it with Hindi and English? And does that affect your reach over YouTube?
Very interesting question. Purity of the art form.
I think I mix Hindi with English because it's easier for me. Like, because I'm born in Mumbai. Second, मतलब हमने इतना ज़्यादा भी नहीं पढ़ा है. तो मतलब अगर आप मेरी कोई पोएम या मेरी कोई कहानी सुनेंगे तो it's got a good mixture of Hindi, Urdu, English. ठीक है, सब थोड़ा थोड़ा मिलाकर दिया है. And I try to keep it as raw as possible. So I feel like comfort की बात होती है कि आप कितने comfortable sound करते हो उस भाषा में, ना कि मतलब like people can do Urdu and Hindi, but then it sounds like these words are not their daily words, है ना? वो जब ऐसा pressure डालते हैं ना तकलीफ तलक इसके ऊपर तशरीफ पर, तो ऐसा पता चलता है हाँ ये रोज नहीं बोलता भाई, हाल दिल रोज बोलते हो क्या? वो साउंड से पता चलता है. अगर आप ऐसे आराम से बोलते हो,
pretentious शब्द है, which even in other cultures they do. You're using archaic language or different language to communicate, and you know it's not the person's heart talking immediately. Yeah. The question, of course, is: are you master of language or language your master? These are the things I always argue with people about, who sit all the time and no, because they get worried. The way they teach us in school, कि ऐसा बोलना है, ऐसा बोलना है, ऐसा बोलना है, that you're just structured, and structure destroys art. So I love the fact that you mix up without thinking, because you're talking from your own heart and your own mouth, and you're opening your soul by talking the way you talk. There's no point you talking like Ghalib when you're not him. You will not be him. Why do you have to be him? But
And I think
Silvery,
जहाँ तक does it affect your reach over YouTube? I think only honesty affects your reach on YouTube. मतलब जितने आप honest हो, it will help you with your reach on YouTube.
and how long will you continue with the pretentious? एक दो डिक्शनरी में सब लोग गूगल कर सकता है शब्दों. You can add them. My good friend, the writer here, is googling all the time for some reason and adding the words, and we can tell it's not real because he cannot write with a common touch. I'm sorry, but I'm very distracted with the monkeys in the room all talking about different things. मैंने pockies का discussion चालू किया है तो pornography की तरफ गया and they're still there. It's disgusting.
हमारे टाइम की बात है.
Yeah, those same porn actors are in their 60s. Yeah. Can you imagine if they're making the films of now? God, bro, सब perspective है भाई, सब perspective है. Chalo, last one. Come on, let's squeeze one in. No one wants to shoot.
Sure, last one. This one is cricket related. Mahindran D asks, I'm a regular for Cyrus podcast for the last 2 years. Please ask Cyrus to talk about India's victory and Shadow's contribution. Shadow's contribution. I would love Cyrus to love cricket podcast.
Yeah, you a cricket fan?
Not so much. Not so much.
So I'll keep it short. Shardul, fantastic. But and everybody says he should have got man of the match and all. But I think Rohit Sharma's 120 in the second innings changed the game completely. England had the edge with the 99-run lead. It was proper test match batting, kept the new ball away, kept 2 new balls away. So I, as a connoisseur, as an artist who can appreciate cricket, the finer points, think that was a real turning point of the match. But of course, Shardul, fabulous the way he comes with a lot of heart. Reminds you of Manoj Prabhakar from the old days, like a real street fighter, a bit of like Javed Miandar, sort of Manoj Prabhakar type of cricketer who's always ready to scrap. You need 1 or 2 of those guys in the team because they're just not scared of anybody or anything. So he brings that to the team. I like that. But I think Rohit Sharma's 120 was 127. I think that was the key. No doubt about that. And I think you just think about Rohit Sharma's performance in all 3 forms of cricket and think whether this is, if you count all 3 forms, this could be the best batsman in the world right now. If you look at one day T20 plus test together, now that he's performed abroad as well. And he looks good while batting. It's not like he's struggling. He's the only guy who looks good.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge Rohit Sharma fan right now. ठीक है? और कुछ कहना है?
That was a good synopsis.
Thank you. So both of you are not interested in the games. So this is part of Indian culture when it comes to poetry. यार 2-3 चेला चमचे तो होते हैं ना side में. The mind guy is saying and then say well done. Irshad. Yes. Basi. Hey, where is Arshad Varsi? We should have him on the podcast, Silvery.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've tried to contact him. Let's see. We'll try to get him on again.
And we have mentioned every time, if you have less work, then come on our podcast. I've been telling people, whenever you're feeling the calm, come on our podcast. We are there for you every morning. Yeah.
Absolutely.
है कोई जवाब?
I was working the whole night.
Kunal is saying your answer should be Yahya. What happened?
नहीं, just phone.
Yahya का pet name या होगा. What should Yahya be shortened to? Ya?
Yes.
So I had a couple of pet names. I had a couple of pet names.
बताओ.
And सब rhyming scheme में पढ़ता था. तो सबसे पहले Yahoo used to be a thing. Like Yahoo was very relevant back then.
Nice.
तो मुझे Yahoo बुलाते थे because people couldn't say Yahya, so they would be like, "Hi Yahoo." And then I don't know if you've seen this, but Great Indian Laughter Challenge आता था पहले. तो उसमें एक बार one of the contestants did like this whole poem. कुरैशी साहब थे, उन्होंने एक पोएम जैसी की थी कि ये है पाया पाया. तब से मेरा नाम पाया पड़ गया था. याया पाया. It was very bad.
I would use the negative version of Yahya should be Gaya, as in Gaya. So it's just Yahya. No, Gaya. It should be that should be like the answer. Running gag everywhere. But Aadhaar card पे क्या है?
Aadhaar card
YAHY.
पे भी. Yes, yes, yes.
Because just to
Yeah,
mention
yeah,
that
it's
Raj Kundra ka actual name is not Raj Kundra. It's some, now I forgot it. Ripu something. Ripu Sudan. Ripu Sudan. That's what the Aadhaar card says. So if you get arrested, you're exposed. Remember that. Till
Wo?
then, if you're a celebrity, your name is your name. Magar, Parantu, you get caught by police or whatever, some, ED or whatever, then they will get the name through the Aadhaar card, PAN card or passport. And then the real name comes out. So his secret is not what he did with the films or whatever, or fraud or whatever.
Use
His
the
secret is the
name.
name.
Use the name.
Bachpan se he hid the secret. Raj. Ripu Sudan.
What?
It's a
It's
very
like
odd name, yaar.
multimillionaire पे
Very odd
हाँ
name. Yeah, Ripu.
multimillionaire पे सूट नहीं करता. Makes
Yeah,
sense. हाँ.
exactly.
Nahi. And that would Sheffield, England, where he grew up. How many
Yeah.
Ripu Sudans there? Yeah, very odd. Chalo,
You gotta
guys, we
be a
have to
Raj
pretend to
for it,
work.
yeah.
Can I take off?
Yes, all of us
Can I go
have
back to my corporate
Yes.
job, Yahya ji? मैं जाऊँ?
Yes,
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 yes.
definitely.
Come. Send a memo to my desk. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Back to the bank tellers, Cyrus.
Yes. Tell them the meeting will start
Hello.
at 3.
Yes. I'll meet the deadline. Yes. Everyone's out work.
Hello, Video Jazz. Can you send me Pocky's part 2?
Yeah. This podcast is being released. Yeah, it's right now.
Okay. I think we've lowered the bar, as we say.
Yeah.
We've done what we can to make it come down. We can't do more.
Yeah.
Yahya, thanks for coming on our show. Hope to see you soon. Have a good weekend. Not
Definitely.
weekend. Day.
Definitely.
Day.
This is
Bye,
day, yeah.
bye, Silvery. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Gopal, say bye.
Thank you so
Say
much.
bye to Yahya. Say bye to Yahya before he goes.
Bye.
तू उंगली दिखाओ कम से
Bye,
कम ना.
sir ji.
बच्चे तो है ना. Show the finger.
Cyrus, this hand is injured.
Oh shit. Sorry. He's fractured hand, Yahya. Bye.
Oh.